Good evening and a very warm welcome back to the channel. Guys, tonight you join me at the headquarters of Emirates, where a sense of deja vu is very much setting in. Tonight I'm going to be flying with Emirates back to Singapore. Tonight it's going to be on their A380 product, so very much their flagship from their home here in Dubai. So I'm going to be very much seeing the best of them. So come along and see what they can offer. Well, it was the trusty Uber down to DXB on that particular evening. Emirates operate out of Terminal 3, which is the newest of the terminals at Dubai. It was pretty quiet at the airport itself, and from there, it was then on to find the correct check-in zone. I did seem to be presented with a couple of different options on that evening, both in terms of a self-check-in area and also an assisted check-in option. I opted for the self-check-in for the very first time and have to say it was incredibly efficient, as so many of these systems are. It was just a case of checking yourself in, choosing your seat to begin with, and then heading over to the automated bag drop area from there. At this particular point, you'll have your boarding pass ready for the flight, but not yet your bag tag. That comes up at the next round of machines, where you simply just scan yourself in to access, print off your bag tag, and then just run it straight onto the machine yourself. It's incredibly intuitive. There are staff around to help if you need any assistance at all, but otherwise I certainly didn't have any issues. Dubai's Terminal 3 does have a wide selection of different lounges, restaurants and other things to get up to. On that particular night, I timed it so it was a fairly tight connection through the airport for me. So the time has come to head down to my gate. An incredibly smooth experience, both in terms of check-in, immigration and security through Dubai International Airport. I will see you on board. One quick footnote for those flying with Emirates through Dubai. Unsurprisingly, the terminal they operate out of is really quite sizable, particularly if you're flying out of Seagates, as I was on that particular evening. Do be prepared and do build some time in for a bit of a walk. So with all that anticipation now out the way, it was time to jump on board an Emirates A380. It was going to be my very first time, and indeed first time back on the 380 in quite some time. Emirates have economy right the way through the lower deck, laid out in a 3-4-3 configuration. I'm very much a believer that this is probably the most spacious way to fly economy around the world. Certainly in terms of recent flights that I've taken, this has very much been the most impressive economy product, certainly from a space point of view. I was at about midway back through the aircraft, just to circle back and touch on that space aspect again. As I take my place in my seat just here, just check out the sheer amount of legroom that I had. I think in terms of economy and expectations nowadays, this really is as good as it gets. Slightly sped up footage for that evening's departure. One of the big drawbacks of the A380 is the huge double glazing leading out to the windows, making it almost impossible to film at night. That said, we were soon on our way, heading over towards India and then back across the Bay of Bengal over towards Singapore. On the back of the seats, you will find in-seat charging, which is ever so important in today's day and age. We all seem to be traveling with more and more devices, so that touch is very much welcome, as is, of course, the ICE entertainment system, with a ton of different options that we'll check out in just a moment, and also those fantastic external cameras, which are very enjoyable on the A380 indeed. In terms of those choices on the ICE, it's world renowned for being one of the world's top entertainment systems. There's a ton of different films. I didn't indulge on this particular flight. Sleep was very much my number one priority, but there certainly would have been an awful lot to keep me entertained had I needed it. Beyond the seatback entertainment, there's also a range of different Wi-Fi packages available on board. I find Emirates' entry-level package to be really good value for money. To have that full flight access to those internet-based messaging services is certainly a really nice choice to go for, as I say, at a really quite affordable price point. After a short sleep, the morning was already upon us, and it was time to have a peruse through the onboard menus to check out the onboard breakfast offering. On my previous Emirates flight, this was a completely overnight flight and I didn't check out any of the food, so I was very keen to get it as part of the review here for you all. In terms of the offering, the big meal served on that particular flight was indeed the breakfast. I was really impressed by the range of different options available and went for the mushroom omelette on this particular occasion. When it was served, what became immediately apparent was the sheer quantity of offering available. In terms of the taste, yeah, economy breakfast, they're never going to be particularly great, particularly rewarmed omelettes, but it was certainly okay, but was definitely impressed by the wide variety of different choices available beyond just that initial selection. On this particular flight, Emirates did serve a snack service shortly after takeoff, but with the departure around 3 AM local time, this definitely wasn't something that I was looking to indulge in. So overall, a really decent flight with Emirates. In terms of areas of improvement for them, I would say slight inconsistencies in the friendliness of the crew, but overall a very strong 8 or 9 out of 10 from me. Look, really hope you enjoyed the review. There's so much more on my channel, so I hope you get the time to check that one out. Otherwise, stay subscribed to be notified of upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next one.